This is Chris with New Vision Asia. I want to talk about subcontractors. Subcontractors are factories. Why we call them subcontractors is you're going to be working with a primary factory, whether through trading companies, sourcing agencies, or working directly with that factory. There will be subcontractors involved with your production. Now, there's a couple different ways when we talk about subcontractors. First, the positives, or the ones that you should not worry about. If you're making a widget and there is for example, you're using an assembly type factory and there's an injection piece that comes in, that's going to be produced at a subcontractor if they don't have their own plastic injection machines. But your assembly factory may have already told you in the beginning, they should tell you in the beginning, that they're, subcontracting this out. Or they're just subcontracting out the tooling and then they'll inject it themselves. In this situation, this is very common. Very few plants, factories these days, even U.S. automakers, they're all going to subcontract parts out for what's the best cost to them, increase their profitability, and those subcontractors may be better at producing that component that they bring in. In this case, no problem. They should be very upfront with you. It's clear, and it works to everyone's advantage. And if you need to see that subcontractor, they'll take you over there and say, here you go, take a look. We inspect all the parts coming in, and they make your product there. What I want to focus on this video is the subcontractor that they don't tell you about. This is where you go in, everything looks great. Hey, here's a plant. You can make everything for us, or you've been clear except for that part, and you get started producing with them. Then you send in your third-party inspection at the time of shipment, and the guy goes there, and he's like, where is item number 7 and 8 of this whole order? And the factory's like, oh, yeah, that one. That's at our sister plant, which they never told you about before, and we're going to bring that over for you, which, here you go. Here's the surprise you don't want to hear about, is they shipped it off either to maximize profit or they got in a rush and they didn't tell you anything about it, and at no time during the initial investigations of this factory did they ever say that they use subcontractors. This is where you want to hammer that factory to let them know it's completely unacceptable because they didn't tell you. So your inspection person or your initial social compliance wasn't able to analyze that subcontractor and make sure that it fits all your requirements. Because this can get you in big trouble, especially if you are selling to one of the big chain stores or your end customer requires certain social audit requirements, and then they send in their inspection group before the order because they're not going to just rely on your inspector, and they see that this came from another plant or it's not there, they could reject the whole order. And it could be $100,000, $200,000, $1 million, depending on that. And they're going to stick you for it, and there's nothing you can do about it because, other than beg, plead, negotiate, because your due diligence up front didn't find this. So, in that situation, yes, give the factory what we call rap on the knuckles. They have to know that you're the type of buyer and consumer that's not going to accept this. You want total transparency throughout the production process, and that includes subcontractors. Make sure they know this. It may not be a deal killer. The product could have been fine that they subcontracted out, but you need to know that information going forward to protect yourself, your products coming in, or your end consumer. So just make sure they know from day one that that's how it's going to be, and keep yourself protected. This is Chris with New Vision Asia, talking about subcontractors.